Okay, so we've been getting a lot of questions in Inferno about simulation crafts. And out there in the past on Inferno, the only guides that we have uses the outside application called Simulation Craft as well, but that requires you to download nightly builds and whatnot. And so I've decided to do this video so that people have a better idea of how Simulation Craft works, and then also how to use the new resource that we have called RaidBots, which essentially is just simulation craft, and someone was smart enough to take that application and just put it into a web client. So for this video, all you need to do is have the simulation craft add-on downloaded from Twitch client, and then have that installed in-game, and then you have to have a web browser. Google Chrome works best for simulation craft. Once you guys have all that, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So here we are, we're in game right now. If you have the add-on installed, all you have to do is open up your chat prompt by hitting enter and type in /sim, C, one word, just like that. And then it's going to bring up this dialog box. It's already going to be highlighted for you. Without pressing anything else, Control C for copy. Once you have Control C done, you can just hit OK. You can close it out and whatnot. And then you're going to flip over to your web browser. And as you can see, I already have RaidBots up, but you want to go to www.raidbots.com. And then you'll see a page like this. Now, the cool thing about RaidBots, which is different from Simulation Craft, you can actually do other things. So let's say you just want to compare relics. You can actually compare relics now just by going to the relic compare and then plugging in which relics you have. Now, if you copied the SimCraft and if you have the most up-to-date add-on, it's actually going to copy alternate items for you from your bags. And if you have them, you'll be able to just plug them in using RaidBots, which is a neat little tool. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to run just an actual sim so I can show you guys how I find out where my DPS is. Now I'm on one of my alts, my hunter, and so this is perfect for me because I'm learning where my numbers are, where I need to improve as I gear up my tune. So what I typically do is I come down to advanced, and as you can see, I already ran a sim earlier today, but I'm going to clear this out. When you guys see this for the first time, it's going to be just like this. You're going to press Control V in the gray box, and you'll see that it'll paste all that information that you copied right here. The next thing that you got to pay attention to is right here, simulation options. It'll be defaulted to a patchwork style fight, which is a single target fight with minimal downtime on the fight, so you can actually see your raw output of DPS. A lot of people just use this. This is what I do. If you really, really wanted to, you can find other fight styles so you can figure out what you're going to do on a certain fight like that. So if you had a heavy movement fight, would be a great idea to use that. So if you're trying to find out what your DPS is going to be on a fight, like maybe Goroth or Inquisition, that'd be a great way to figure that out. Fight length, I usually keep it at 5 minutes. When you get to higher geared teams, obviously fights last a lot shorter. But for now, just keep it at 5 minutes. It's pretty standard. And it's a good checkpoint for your DPS because most classes fall off after the first minute of DPS, so you're going to find out where your fall off is as well. And then the SimC version, there is a new one that comes out every night. I usually either use weekly or nightly. It doesn't really matter to me, especially right now since I'm just gearing up. It doesn't matter that much, but if I'm really pushing content, I would use nightly. But for now, let's just keep it on weekly. And then going all the way back, I'm going to go to iterations. Now, what are iterations? So what the SimCraft actually does is it takes your fight, the 5-minute fight that we set it to, and it records it. And then it does it again and again and again, and it'll do it 10,000 times. And then what it does is it provides the average to us. So whatever the average DPS that we did, it's going to give that to us. Some fights it'll sim very low, and some fights it'll sim very high. And I'll show you guys that here in a few seconds. But for now, let's keep it at 10,000. Don't need to overwork the add-on. I'm not, like I said, I'm just gearing up. But if you really, really want to get to the minute detail, you can always take your iterations up. Once that's done, you can name the report here. I'm just going to keep it advanced simulation. This is just for a video, and then run the simulation. Once the simulation is running, it's going to take a few moments because the way the add-on in the website works is it can only run once. So there's other people using it. 155 in queue, so let's give it some time. And it'll take a few moments. Alright, we're back. So it ran the sim And I ran the advanced simulation, so it's just going to give me this page right here um, and whatnot. It's going to tell you exactly what your DPS is, and you have a pretty good idea. But of course, this isn't all the information that we may necessarily want, especially for someone like me who wants to find out, hey, why am I only pulling 765k DPS, which actually is a lot for my current item level. But let's find out. All right. If you check out here, it's just going to give us back our copy paste bin. Nothing changes, by the way. This is just the raw input, and it's letting us know what did it sim. But let's say we want to break this down. If you come over here to the right, where it says simulation details, you get mini sim details, tells you what it was, fight length 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes, by the way. And there's only one boss target. And it's using the version that was released yesterday, I believe. But the report, let's say we really want to dig into it. If you click down here, it's going to say full HTML report. Let's click on that. And it's going to bring up another web page called SimCraft. Now, if anybody used the old add-on, this is the add-on, the application you used outside the game. You actually downloaded this. Now it's built into the website. So here it is. You have your build right here. And now you can actually break it down. Now, for those of you guys that just want to find out what your numbers are, you can stop watching the video now. Here, I'm just going to break this down very briefly on how I use this. The one thing I also noticed with this, there's no longer pawn strings. So if you're using pawn, you're not going to be able to download the pawn string and input it. At least I didn't find it if they moved it. But I don't really use pawn as much as I do anymore. I find it useful once, and I keep it up so I know what's going to upgrade and whatnot. But I'm always running sims. Even in the middle of raid, I'll just sim myself. But here you're going to find out why you did this amount of DPS. So if you look down here in the charts, it's the best way to find out. So we find out that, hey, you know, my damage per execute time, I don't really need to worry about this. But if you look at Warcraft logs every day after raid, you'll see that this looks very similar. So in a 5-minute fight, you'll see that this is where my numbers go. So I pull up to, by second 12, I'm pulling 1.3 million DPS, and that's where my hunter is. And then I fall off down to 500k DPS. So this is how you can actually analyze how your tune should do DPS. So if you're having issues in raid, you're only pulling like 500k with my gear and my item level right now, you can come to a site like this and find out what could I be doing differently. The one thing that this won't do is tell you when to cast, but it can tell you how it casted. If you look at the damage sources right here, for instance, this just says, hey, use aim shot. Okay, you should be using aim shot because it's the bulk of your damage, but you also want to use these. And this is the percentage of time you want to be using it. So I want to be using aim shot 50% of the time, in theory. But that's how much damage I do. That's, like I said, in theory. But if you come over here, I actually see my spent time. In order to pull the numbers I pulled right here in this pie chart, this is what I actually pull. So of that entire fight, I spend 130 seconds, 2 whole minutes casting aim shot. Okay. The other 130 seconds right here, I spend casting arcane shot. So these are the 2 abilities I use the entire fight. Everything else is filler. Okay. Again, it's not going to tell you when I should cast those, but it's going to tell you how much you should be casting those. So if you go to your, if you're playing a marksman hunter and you find out you're not doing enough damage, and you come down into the Warcraft logs and you see yourself only casting aim shot so many times, it tells you right here that you should be casting aim shot most of the time. If not, arcane shot, and then you fill with your other abilities. But remember how I said about the average DPS? How the sim works? This is exactly how the sim works here. So here is the iterations. So we ran over 1,000 iterations. Obviously, this is all averaged out. This is not true. This is not 1,000. But it takes your best iterations and puts them here. And you'll see that there are 700 iterations right here, and this is what it's simming out at right here. 700 iterations. The most iterations came up with this number right here, which is my NDPS. The fewest are at the tail ends, right? So you had 8 iterations come up with only 670k DPS, whereas you had 12 iterations come up with almost 900k DPS. So that's how the simulation craft works. It takes all the iterations, it averages them out, and then it comes up with the amount of damage that you did. And of course, You have all your procs down here and whatnot that you can always peel through. They look very complicated. They are complicated, and a lot of us don't even, um, do anything with them. But let's say you're having like focus issues. Well, guess what? Right here, you can start to analyze what's the best way to get your focus and where your mean focus should be at, for instance. And so that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you guys out. I kept it really simple. I just wanted to help out a lot of you X Inferno members because I feel like it's becoming a nightly thing where people say, hey, I'm going to sim my character, and they're like, what are you talking about? Well, now guess what? You have a video to use as a resource. So if you have any questions, guys, feel free to get us on Discord. I'll put Discord in the video comment section. And I'll talk to you guys later.